Alright, trainers, today we're going to be talking about the new Pokemon announced in the upcoming DLC for Pokemon Scarlet Violet. It is going to be the Pokemon Dipplin. Now, this is a pretty cool Pokemon. I like that it's a candy apple. It looks super cute, but it actually has some things that are going to be very, very viable inside of Pokemon Scarlet and Violet. Alright, so Dipplin is going to be a grass dragon type Pokemon, just like its other evolutions in Flapple and Appleton. However, it's going to have its new ability, the Super Sweet Syrup. Starting out, we have the ability Super Sweet Syrup. Now, Super Sweet Syrup is awesome. It's going to work very much like Intimidate, except instead of dropping the attack stat, it's going to go ahead and lower the evasion of all the opponents on the other side of the field. This is going to be super beneficial because if you have a team that is using Hurricane builds or Blizzard builds, or even moves like Leech Seed, anything that has a lower accuracy, it's going to bring it up and make it so it's going to hit more often or all the time. For example, anything with a 75% or higher accuracy is going to hit no matter what once a -1 evasion is on the field. So that's going to change the game for a lot of attacks and a lot of team builds. Now, while this is going to help team compositions, and I can already see it now, lots of rain teams and ice teams, this still is going to benefit this Pokemon by itself just as much as a team composition. For example, the move Dragon Rush is a 75% accuracy move, but once we get a -1 to the opponent's evasion, it's going to hit no matter what. So this is an awesome ability, and I think we're going to see this used actually quite a bit. It might not be the #1 Pokemon, but I do think it is going to be in a top usage kind of situation. Moving into its signature move, Syrup Bomb. Now, Syrup Bomb is going to be pretty cool, but because it is a Syrup Bomb, just like Sludge Bomb, it makes me believe that this is going to be a special attack-oriented Pokemon. Now, not only does it have the same bomb word in its name, but it also looks very much like Sludge Bomb when it is used in battle, except it's a little more red instead of that purple poison color. Now, Syrup Bomb is going to be a damage-dealing move, and while we don't know exactly what that number is, we can guess that if it's like Sludge Bomb, then it's going to have a power of 90, which is a pretty good power. Not over the top crazy awesome, but it's not a 60 either, so it's pretty good. Plus, it gets a special effect. Now, the special effect on this is really cool. The special effect, when you hit a Pokemon with this move, it is going to lower their speed stat by 1. But it continues after that. Every turn, that Pokemon for 3 turns will have a -1 speed drop every turn. So for 3 turns, -1, so by the end of it, it's a -3. That is a huge drop in speed, and that is pretty cool. So it does damage, and it drops speed, whereas Sludge Bomb, for example, does damage and maybe will poison something. So this is a significant upgrade in the bomb spectrum of attacks, assuming, of course, that it does have a decent power level. That being said, even if this was a lower power level move, like power 50 or 60, I still think it has a lot of viability because of that continual speed drop. And that's going to be very beneficial, especially if maybe your the opponents on the other side of the field are a Tailwind setter, or they've got Choice Scarfs on, whatever it is, and they're outspeeding you, and that's actually significantly putting you behind in the game. This could be a way to level that playing field and to make them force out on switches, on pivots, or even just to give you that advantage and overtake them before they can finish you. That being said, let's go ahead and move on and look at the possible stat spread. Now, because we have Flapple as a physical attack-based oriented Pokemon, I mean, it has a 95 special attack, not bad, but that 110 attack stat was really where it shines. I believe that this is going to be almost the mirror opposite of Flapple. I believe it's going to have a special attack of 110 and a physical attack of 95. I think pretty much all the other stats are going to be the same. Now, in theory, they shouldn't increase or decrease the amount of stats, as Flapple and Appleton are both 485. So I believe we're going to see the same thing, just mirror opposite to the Flapple with that special attack stat. So if this is the case, we're going to have an okay physical defense, but not a great HP and not a great special defense. Now, the defense and special defense might also be flipped. So I put that down here. Instead of defense 80, I think that this could very well be a defense 60. And instead of special defense at 60, I believe it could very well be a special defense at 80. Now, if I'm correct, then I believe this would be a great way to round out the whole Applin line. We'd have the physical attacker, we'd have the tanky wall stall Appleton, and then Dipplin would come in and be our special attacker. And I think that that's a pretty cool thing for a Pokemon evolution line to have. A nice little branch, you get to choose really what's going to suit your play style and fit your team. All right, trainers, let's go ahead and take a look at this first build here. Now, if I'm correct, then this is going to be a special attack-based Pokemon, then we're obviously going to want to work on that special attack, especially because our defenses aren't very good. So we could plug a bunch of EVs into the defenses, but it's not going to do a crazy amount for this Pokemon, unless I'm completely wrong and this turns out to be a mirror of Appleton or something like that. So what we're going to want to do is we're going to want to max out our best stat here, which, assuming it's going to be the special attack, put 252 into that, and then try to get as much speed as we can on the field and do 252 into speed. Now, the speed base stat is only 70, so it's not like that's crazy high either, but we're going to try to get that as high as possible so that when we use our Syrup Bomb and that speed stat goes down, we start outspeeding everything that we're hitting. That's kind of the goal here for this set. The other 4 EVs you can put into whatever you want. I just threw it into HP. But you can do into defenses or special defense, whatever you would like to do here. The big thing for this build, though, is we want to nullify a lot of those weaknesses and use the Terra Steel typing. This will kind of either make us neutral or resistant to a lot of those weaknesses that we had, like the Fairy typing, which is so predominant with things like Flutter Mane flooding competitive right now. Moving on over to the moveset, I want to remind you guys, we don't know what the full moveset is for this Pokemon yet. We can cross-reference with Flapple and Appleton and see some moves that they both share, for example, Leech Seed, and maybe be able to pull together some moves there, and we know it's going to have Syrup Bomb, but there could be some other things, maybe even some egg moves that go in that it's going to have that we don't know yet. Just keep that in mind. Otherwise, let's take a quick look. So for the moveset here, we've got Syrup Bomb, Terra Blast, and Draco Meteor. Draco Meteor is awesome. It does a ton of damage, but remember, you are going to go ahead and take that negative, that double negative to your special attack after you use it. So just keep that in mind because it does have that double edge to it. For the fourth move, again, it's going to depend on what comes out with the moveset, but right now I have a couple things that you can choose from. Protect is always a solid option, especially for a Pokemon that is a threat on the field offensively, but doesn't have a whole lot of bulk behind it. Protect's great to draw in and waste some attacks of your opponents. Leaf Storm, heavy damage. Leech Seed, annoying as all anything, but with your evasion drop, it no longer is a 90% accuracy. It's going to hit no matter what, assuming you already haven't used it on it, and it's going to give you a little bit of HP back every turn, do some extra chip damage out, so that's a possibility too. Personally here, I like Protect for the time being, but you can choose whatever fits your playstyle. Moving on down to ability, nature, and item, we are going to go ahead and stick with the Super Sweet Syrup. It's a very good ability, and not saying that Thick Fat doesn't have some play or Gluttony in certain teams. No, it's just this is like Intimidate, and Intimidate is very good, and this is going to be like that. This has a lot of play and a lot of viability. For the nature, what we're going to go ahead and go with is either Timid or Modest. Timid's going to boost your speed, lowering your physical attack. Modest is going to boost your special attack and lower your physical attack. Now, I do kind of like the Modest here for boosting that special attack because we can raise our speed, but we already put a bunch of EVs into the speed. So now we can go ahead and worry about just making sure our special attack stat is maxed out so we can do all the damage that we need to do. All right, moving down to the items, we have the Eject Pack as number 1 for me here. I really like the Eject Pack paired with the Draco Meteor. That way, if we get a -2 to our stats when we use the Draco Meteor, we get to pivot the Pokemon out, no problem, but then we can also put that Pokemon back out on the field, taking advantage of that Super Sweet Syrup ability, getting the negative drop to the evasion of the opposing Pokemon. This is going to be really nice, especially if they've pivoted out to try to cancel that negative that they had before, you're bringing it back out onto the field. And if you have it paired with a Pokemon that's using something like Hurricane, you're increasing the viability of that Hurricane move hitting even further, making it, setting your team up essentially for success. Now, if you do want to focus more on straight damage, you have Life Orb and Choice specs here. Now, Life Orb is good over the Choice specs for me for one specific reason. I want the ability to use that Syrup Bomb whenever I want, but I also want to be able to use Terra Blast or Draco Meteor in this respect. Especially if Syrup Bomb comes out and it's a lower power, I want to be able to maximize the damage that I can do with some of those other moves. So that is why I like Life Orb a little more over Choice specs. However, if you have a Life Orber already on the team that you want to place this Dipplin at, then maybe Choice specs is the way to go for you, and you can do that. And if you really want to go ahead and be super fast and really maximize your speed, go ahead and do the Choice Scarf, but I would really stick with the Life Orb and the specs here. Furthermore, if you don't want to have to switch your Pokemon out, you want to keep this Pokemon out on the field, then you could do a White Herb if you use the Draco Meteor, then it will replenish your stats for you without having to pivot out. But like I said, I like the option of the Pokemon coming back into my party so I can send it back out and take advantage of that super sweet Syrup ability. Alright, so I went ahead and threw a physical attack spread on here for you just in case I'm wrong and it goes the opposite direction. It is going to still be that Terra Steel typing, except we're going to put 252 EVs into our attack stat. That being said, the moveset we're still hitting up with the Syrup Bomb. Even if it's a special attack, I think it's worth putting on your moveset for that continuous -1 to the speed stat of the opponent you hit. Iron Head is better than Terra Blast here as it has the additional effect, and Dragon Rush is going to be extremely viable here because normally it has a 75% accuracy check, but instead with our super sweet syrup, anything that gets that negative evasion drop, Dragon Rush is going to hit, period. So that is pretty awesome. It's a great move, nice power, and this is going to make it completely viable. For your fourth move, you could do Protect, you could even throw something on there like Rollout or Defense Curl, or even a Leech Seed. It's completely up to you. Again, I like Protect here. It's just a better, more solid option for you. But if you wanted to play with something else, there you have it. On that note, I will say I will have another video coming out for a Rollout build. It's going to be super, super fun, but I'm probably going to wait until I get the actual stat spread for this Pokemon, the base stats for this Pokemon, so I can make that an official, real guide. Ability, Nature, and Item is going to mirror the other one very similarly. Super Sweet Syrup for the ability, Jolly for the nature, although I really do kind of like Adamant here. And then for the items, you can do Life Orb or Choice Band, or you could even throw a Miracle Seed on there if you just need the extra grass type damage. Alright guys, that's going to be it for the video. We'll know more about this Pokemon as we get closer and closer to the DLC, and I will get some more information out when I know it. Otherwise, I hope this was helpful. If it was, drop a like and subscribe. It definitely helps the channel out. Otherwise, I look forward to seeing you all in the next video, but until then, take care.